Coming up on today's episode of Airborne Unlimited, CBO revises cost estimate of the AIRR Act. Kickstarter campaign underway for Hangar for Dock. Tiny jet engines power extreme wingsuit flight. Hello, I'm Laura Hudson. It's August 22nd, and this is Airborne Unlimited. ATC privatization will be even costlier than thought. The Congressional Budget Office has released a revised scoring of the 21st Century AIRR Act, and the news is not good for supporters of the bill and its plan to separate ATC from the FAA. In the latest cost estimate released last week, the CBO says that the AIRR Act would increase the deficit by nearly $100 billion. That's $80 billion more than the previous estimate. According to the CBO, after taking into account lost tax revenue and new or increased taxes and fees, the new outcome is an increase in the deficit of $98.5 billion. So here's how it shapes up. The legislation would hand over the air traffic control system to the airlines, who are behind in equipping with the latest technology and responsible for 50% of delays. It would create the too-big-to-fail monopoly, and now it will cost taxpayers almost $100 billion to create a new system when the one we have is the envy of the world, said AOPA President and CEO Mark Baker. A crowdfunding campaign is underway on Kickstarter to raise money towards the construction of a new hangar for Dock, the recently restored B-29 that appeared at AirVenture last month. The new home for Dock will be an interactive B-29 hangar and education center. Generations to come would have the opportunity to enjoy and experience this prominent figure in our nation's history. B-29 Dock will act as a backdrop inside the center for the public to enjoy bits of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics that go hand in hand with aviation. In the months since the Warbird returned to flight, Dock has traveled thousands of miles and logged dozens of hours of flight time, serving as flying tribute to the men and women who designed, built, maintained, and flew the B-29 to protect America's freedom during World War II. The 32,000 square feet facility will be located in Wichita, Kansas. Pending final design approval, construction is expected to begin in September of this year and be completed in September of 2018. As with any construction project, weather could delay the project, but a weather contingency plan is built into the timeline. To date, the campaign has raised nearly $12,000 towards its $100,000 goal, with about a month to go. After the break, jet engines on a wingsuit. What's next?
The dream is real, a truly affordable personal jet aircraft. The Subsonics Personal Jet Kit is priced at only $42,000. Kit plus engine is still under $100K. Add instruments, upholstery, and paint and you're flying. It's time to put your money where your bucket list is. Learn more at sonicsaircraft.com.
The Bristol Light Sport aircraft is what you are looking for. The Bristol is wider than a Cirrus, faster than a Skyhawk, offers more storage than a Husky, and comes standard with Garmin avionics. So what are you waiting for? Visit Bristol.com to find out how you can get into a Bristol today.
Welcome back. For most of us, the notion of a wingsuit flight is a pretty abstract concept. While we've watched, sometimes in awe, videos of human flying squirrels zooming over the ground, sometimes at treetop level or lower, it's not something we'd actually do. But there are obviously those that thrive on the adrenaline produced by such an extreme sport. One such person is Jarno Cordia, an experienced skydiver with over 5,000 skydives, 4,000 wingsuit jumps, and 400 base jumps to his credit. Maybe after 4,000 wingsuit flights, it got to be a little too routine, so Cordia amped up his wingsuit flying by attaching a pair of small jet engines to his ankles and taking the plunge. Of course, there is a YouTube video of the flight. Cordia says in the video that it had always been a dream of mine to fly a wingsuit with jet engines. To accomplish the feat, he leapt from a hot air balloon and lit the engines, which produced about 176 pounds of thrust combined. He flew for nearly 3 minutes before deploying his canopy, even gaining a little altitude before ending the flight. One more milestone checked off the list. We'll be watching to see what might be next. Every Tuesday, we're going to look ahead at some of the more interesting events in the aviation universe. Here's this week's Aero-Calendar. The fourth Saturday of each month, 8:30 to 10 a.m., EAA Chapter 339, in conjunction with the Old Dominion Squadron of the Commemorative Air Force, has their monthly fly-in pancake breakfast. Menu includes pancakes, regular or blueberry, sausage, eggs, orange juice, and coffee, all for only a $7 donation. The Great Plains Air Expo will be held on Tuesday, August 29, 2017, in Madison, Wisconsin. See and get answers on new aircraft, Cessna, Beechcraft, Pilatus, and Quest, financing and tax professionals on site. Please join the 2017 Great Plains Air Expo and visit the numerous factory and dealer representatives. A wide selection of aircraft will be on static display, and aviation experts will be available to assist you with your aircraft evaluation process. This is it, the Ladies Love Tail Draggers National Fly-In. September 7th through 10th will converge on C-77 Poplar Grove Airport for a whole lot of fun and a whole lot of flying. It's a guaranteed good time, but pre-registration is required. After these messages, Ryanair wants a 2-drink limit.
There's a difference between charting a steady course and pushing for the ceiling. And for nearly a century, Hartzell Propeller has been defining that difference. It's in our passion for engineering and research and our dedication to testing the limits of performance. We are built on honor. We are Hartzell Propeller.
Concorde's recombinant gas RG series sealed battery technology produces a high-performance battery with the advantages of being pre-tested and fully charged at the factory. Find out more about Concorde's entire line of batteries at www.concordebattery.com. Concorde, the heart of your aircraft.
Welcome back. With so much news coming out of the aviation industry, we're summarizing some other interesting stories in a brief segment we call Around the Patch. UK budget airline Ryanair has requested that airports in the UK limit passengers to 2 drinks prior to boarding and not serving alcohol to passengers at all before 10 a.m. Recent media reports show a sharp spike in the arrest of drunken passengers, reportedly up 50% over last year. RAI Jets LLC has announced that the most recent addition to its fleet, a Cessna Citation X aircraft, has received FAA approval for charter flight on RAI's flight certificate. The same jet was formerly owned by famous record-breaking aviator Steve Fossett, who flew it to break the speed record for flight from San Diego to Charleston, South Carolina in under 3 hours, at an average speed of 726.83 miles per hour. Aurora Flight Sciences has been awarded a $499 billion indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity contract with the U.S. Air Force in support of the ASAP-TR program. The competitively awarded Aerospace System Air Platform Technology Research contract is to conduct research for affordable revolutionary capabilities for the warfighter. The Commercial Spaceflight Federation has launched a patron program, a new membership program which enables CSF to more fully represent the commercial space industry ecosystem by including the growing number of individuals investing in the industry. The patron membership category allows for individual involvement and support of CSF as opposed to CSF's executive associate and educational membership categories, which are reserved for corporations, organizations, and other groups. The person who has started a petition on change.org to have the Department of Labor reclassify aircraft mechanics as skilled labor has dropped the campaign after finding that the classification system is no longer in effect. In a message posted on the website, petitioner Adolfo Rodriguez of Noonan, Georgia, said, "I was made aware that the Department of Labor has dropped the classification system back in the day." Well, that's it for today's trip around the patch. Now let's move on to the rest of the news. The X-37B spaceplane may fly again in September, but the Air Force is playing the actual launch date close to the vest. When it does launch, it will be carried into orbit by a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket. Various media reports indicate that the launch is planned for early September, but Captain Anna Marie Annicelli, a U.S. Air Force spokeswoman, said that at this time, "I do not have a launch date to release." OTV-5 will launch from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. There have been 4 previous flights of the two X-37B spacecraft. They have ranged in length from 224 days in space to 718 days on the most recent mission, which ended with a landing at the Kennedy Space Center Shuttle Landing Facility on May 7th. All previous missions have landed at Vandenberg Air Force Base in California. According to the Air Force, the payload of OTV-5 will be the U.S. Air Force Research Laboratory's Advanced Structurally Embedded Thermal Spreader, an instrument designed to test experimental electronics and oscillating heat pipes in a long-duration space environment. Well, that's our program for today. Remember that Airborne Unlimited is streamed daily Monday through Friday with additional breaking news bulletins for important stories that fall outside of our normal deadlines. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe and do check us out on Facebook and Twitter. Get comprehensive, real-time, 24/7 coverage of the latest aviation and aerospace stories anytime at aero-news.net. See you tomorrow.